Hey guys, this is Rhonda, and I just wanted to make a video to share a little bit about what's been going on. I was teaching the Bible study, the rest of Revelation, and during that time, unfortunately, I got a diagnosis that I was a little unprepared for. So I'm sorry I haven't been able to complete that study, and hopefully I will in the future. But I wanted to share a little bit about what God is doing right now in my life and in my heart. And just, I felt like this was something He wanted me to share with other people. Maybe those of you who are finding yourself in the fiery furnace right now, such as I am, not someplace that you expect to go or you ever willingly go, but sometimes God just opens a door and says, you know what, I'm going to do some work right here in you, and you're going to come out on the other side different than you would be otherwise. And that's what He's doing in me. I know that's what He's doing in a lot of us right now. And so, anyway, I have a lung condition, so please forgive me if I start breathing a little heavy. I just want to mostly just share what God's doing. I also just want to, this exact lesson, I did a teaching on a few years ago about the song, the music, and not bowing down when we hear the music. And so I'm going to link that in the comments with this video so that you can see that, because if you find this teaching, this more of a testimony type teaching, and you want to know more about how God moves in the fiery furnace, that might be a blessing to you. There's also another video I'll link that talks about, I actually went through a very, very severe season of illness, starting back in, well, a few years ago, but I had a stroke back in 2013. And man, God showed me so much during that time. And to be quite honest, I thought that season was over. I didn't think I would go back into the furnace. I thought that was a season that was past and is done. But it looks like it's not. That there's still some more that the Lord has to show me. And I'm thankful. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be real. I wasn't that excited. I have been a little befuddled and confused, but I'm finding Jesus. And whenever you find Jesus, there's always a reason for hope. There's always a reason to know, wow, He's here. And because He's here, there's amazing good things that are going to come out of this. There's always good news when there's Jesus. So before I get into this teaching, I wanted to just share some things He's talking to me about that I've been learning as I go. Whenever I first got the news, and at first I was shocked, and then I went on this walk with Him, and it took faith to walk, because I don't have a whole lot of energy or breath like I normally have in the past, but I could hear Him. There was a message He reminded me the first time I was sick, based on Deuteronomy 30, where it says, God says, I set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Choose life that you and your offspring may live. And then a little further down, He says, for I am your life and your length of days. And so He's just been reminding me lately. We hear the words choose life, more like, pro-life message, which it is a pro-life, and I am pro-life, but literally, each of us have a choice to choose life. And He's just reminding me again, you choosing life is up to you. That's your response to me. But what I do with your life is up to me, Rhonda. That's up to me. And I know that when it all boils down to it, it's pretty clear that I press in and choose life. And sometimes I have to pray and discern like what that looks like in this season. Like, what does choosing life look like for you, God? But He's meeting me there, and He's showing me as I go. And what He's going to do with my life, that is up to Him. I don't know at the end of this if He's just going to walk me on home and I'm going to enter into life everlasting. I know eventually that's where we're all going, and that it's a beautiful thing sometimes when you're made aware of that a little more than you typically would be had you not not have some scary news looking at you. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get into what he's showing me today, because I feel like that's what he really wants me to hone in on. There's this, it's the story, if you go to Daniel 3, there's the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And what was happening is that the king Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had set up this idol, this big statue, and when the music played, he wanted everyone to bow down and worship it. And of course, these young men, they did not worship it, because they were staying true to worship to their one true God. And so because of that, there were some consequences. And this is what happened. If we read and pick up in verse 17, it says, if we are these are their response whenever they were brought before the king. And the king's basically saying, what is up with this? Why are you not bowing down when the music plays? Why are you not worshiping my image, my statue? You're not worshiping me. And I'm going to go ahead and pick up in verse 16. It says, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. For if we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to save us from it, and he will rescue us from your hand, O king. But even if he does not, we want you to know, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship them, the image of gold that you have set up. Please excuse me. Then Nebuchadnezzar was furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and his attitude toward them changed. So he got really mad when they responded in this way. He ordered the furnace to be heated up 7 times hotter than usual, and commanded some of the strongest soldiers in his army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. So he's tying them up and wanting them thrown into this furnace. So these men were wearing their robes, trousers, turbans, and other clothes, and were bound and thrown into the blazing furnace. That word bound really struck out to me as I was reading this, because if there's one description I feel like physically in my body, I feel like I'm bound. Like I'm bound, and I'm having to go through something I don't really want to go through. And my body, when you're bound, there's a resistance. You want to do things, you want to go places, but you can't, because you're limited, because you literally are restricted. And that's kind of what it's like sometimes when you have an illness that you kind of limits you and restricts you. But you know what? God, he is allowing this to happen right now. But in my heart, because I'm bound, he's causing a stillness that's just saying, be still and know that I am God. So the part of me that wants to be outwardly active and fight what's going on, it can't, because I don't have the strength to do it. But the inward part that is God, that is all powerful, what is it? God's called the I am. That is he is the ever active verb. That part is growing so big because I cannot physically do very much right now. I mean, it was a lot for me to put a little bit of makeup on and get dressed and do my hair. But he is so big, and he's moving things in me, and I feel it. And so for those of us that feel bound right now, maybe by illness or maybe by circumstances, you can know that sometimes maybe the Lord is allowing you to just be still and rest in him and know that he is God, because he is being active. He's so active when sometimes we're the most bound. So there's that. I'm going to pick up in verse 23, where these basically he commanded the flames to be turned up, and that these men, he wanted them in the hottest fire. It says, and these 3 men were firmly tied, and they fell into the blazing furnace. It was so hot that the soldiers who went to throw them in, they all perished in the fire. But these men who were tied did not. They did not succumb to the fire. And in verse 24 it says, then King Nebuchadnezzar leaped to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, weren't there 3 men that were tied up and thrown into the fire? And they replied, "Certainly, O king." And he said, "Look, I see 4 men walking around in the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like the son of God's." So he saw there was another one in the fire with them. And there's one thing I see right now, that there is another one in the fire with me right now. And if you're going through one of these times where you're in the fiery furnace, he's in there with you right now. And you will not be burned up, even if he's walking you through to the finish line. What's meant to stay in this world will stay, and you will awaken and arise and shine into his perfect light, into his perfect love. Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." There is another way out of the fire. And you know what? When you come out of the fire, other people notice. They don't notice you. They notice who has been with you. Who has been with you through the fire. And you know who that is? It's Jesus. Jesus, he goes with us. And he's most seen when we're the most bound, when we're the most heated up and our fires are turned up and the world's trying to watch and say, how is that person in there? And they're not being burned up. You know, where Jesus' joy shows up. The ever-present, he's our wellspring of living water. And he flows right through us, even no matter what our circumstances are, because there's nothing that Jesus hasn't overcome, and there's nothing we walk through that he hasn't overcome. And even though I'm sitting here right now in a fiery place, I feel him overcoming in me. He's with me, and I know I'm going to make it to the other side. I don't quite know what that looks like. Maybe if God wills, I'll continue to make these videos and show you how the rest of the story turns out. But I do know I'm coming out on the other side, and I know I'm going to have Jesus on the other side. And that's so precious to me. And so what I get to look forward to in the furnace is Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Glory, glory, glory as I go. I'm going to see more of him and less of me, because there's some things that need to maybe come off of me in that fire. Maybe I didn't even know were there, and I'm finding that there's some things there that I didn't quite understand or that know about him, but he's becoming so big, and there's parts of me that are becoming so aware of how small I am. I love it that it says in verse 27, it says, "They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair of their heads singed, or their robes were not scorched. There was not even the smell of fire on them." So when I come out on the other side of this, whether it's in heaven or whether it's here on earth, I know that whatever I walked through, I'm going to walk through, and he's walking through it with me, and he's bearing it with me. And that when I come out on the other side, he's going to be glorified. And that's all that matters. And that is the amazing thing. And the coolest part is it says, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants." So what happened on the other side of this? Not only did Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego get to come out of the fire and get to see God deliver them in ways that were amazing, but who else? Everyone else saw too. Everyone else saw God. And so God was magnified and glorified. It's almost like the fire of God spread into the hearts of people as they were like, whoa, look how God showed up. And so there's so much glory at stake when we go into the fire, not only for our lives and for what we're experiencing, but for those around us. So this way we know when we go into the fire, it's never about us. And that's what I have to share. I want to just close with a little example of this. The other day, I had to go to the emergency room. And I mean, that's kind of when my interest in this passage started, because it literally felt like I was going into the fire. I just wasn't feeling well at all. I wasn't sure, because of my diagnosis. When I go to the ER right now, no one can really stay with you. So I knew I was going in by myself, and I didn't know what was going to be happening on the other side of that. But it was amazing. There was a moment when I had to leave my friend who brought me and sit down with all of these patients that were very, very sick all around me. And I didn't know what they had, but I knew, man, I was vulnerable. Even though we had masks on, we could have easily caught anything. But there was a moment where I felt in my spirit, like, are you going to be a patient, or are you going to be my child, my ambassador? And so it was an inner choice in my heart. I'm here. I'm your ambassador, even though I'm here as a patient. I'm here in the fire, but I'm here and I'm going to burn for you in the fire. And I just began praying for those around me. Every single person Jesus put in my path, if he opened a door, I just walked through it and loved them with the love of Jesus. There was no fear. There was no fear of them and no fear of what they thought of me, because I was there in love, loving them. I don't know where they were from or what their background was. If they wanted to tell me, they were fine, but they didn't have to. I just wanted to love on them and pray for them and love them with the love of Jesus. And over and over and over again, he allowed me to step into certain people's moments of great fear. They were in the fire, and you could see some of them were scared. And it allowed me to be an ambassador there. Even though I was there as one of them, I was also there as an ambassador for Christ, with his love and his light there. I know there was one young lady in there that was there with her father, and they did let her stay because her father was not doing well at all, and he was not conscious, and it looked like a very, very serious situation. And she was from Mexico, and she didn't know how to speak much English, but it just blessed me to be able to stand there with her, hold her hand, and pray with her, and give her that presence of Christ right there in the midst of her greatest fire, her greatest tragedy. Anyway, excuse me. I wanted to just share that with you, share this video. God is so good. How I pray, I'm gonna hopefully keep you guys updated on how I'm doing and all the things Jesus is showing me as I walk through this season. And hopefully very soon I'll be able to start teaching again, but I'm really not sure what's about to happen. As Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said, God will deliver me even if he doesn't. I will not bow. I'm not going to bow down to fear. I'm going to keep standing up in this fire, and I'm going to watch Jesus walk me all the way home, whether it's soon or whether it's more time here on earth. I'm not sure. But God bless you. Thank you so much for watching my videos, for listening to what Jesus is sharing in my life. I praise you and I bless you, and he will keep us all. He's walking with us all faithfully home. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and bless you in Jesus' name.